Hi, I'm Joe from Arrow, and today we're going to talk about and show you how to assemble the Auntie sewing cabinet. This is an Auntie M in white. Auntie Oakley comes in oak. The cabinet comes in 2 boxes. This particular cabinet has your leaf on the right and left hand sides with an individual leaf support. It comes with the universal insert and does have an air lift. Getting ready to build our sewing cabinet, we want to gather the following tools. Screwdriver, or an electric screwdriver is recommended, hammer or mallet, a wrench, and adjustable socket wrench. To begin the assembly of our Auntie M and Auntie Oakley sewing cabinet, we are first going to locate our hardware bag, and we are going to work with the connecting bolt and cams first. There are 21 of each. Your left side panel G will have 4. The top of the cabinet has 5 connecting bolts. The side panel H will have 4 of the connecting bolts. Panel F has 4 on one side and 4 on the reverse side. Install all of these with your electric screwdriver or regular screwdriver. Then proceed to install the cams themselves. Part Q has 2, O has 4, P has 2, 4 on M, 4 on N. The side panel G has 2 at the top, and H also has 2 on the top. Very lastly, we have 1 cam on panel F. Tools in hand, we're going to show you how to put the connecting bolt into the pre-drilled hole of the cabinet with your screwdriver. The cam, notice that there is an arrow that is inserted into the hole so that the arrow is pointing towards the unfinished edge of the board. We have 4 drawer runners to install on panel H. Finding the pre-drilled hole, screw down so the head of the screw is just even with the top of the drawer runners. Screwing down too far will expand the plastic and cause trouble later. On your partition F, we also will install the 4 drawer runners. In the hardware bag, you will find a set of drawer stops. You will have a metal peg to put into the hole, and the drawer stop will be screwed down into the pre-drilled hole. Do it loosely so that it can swing around. In our hardware bag, we will find our 4 wooden dowels. They are going to be installed into parts P and Q. Make sure that you don't confuse the cam hole with the dowel hole, and with your mallet, tap it in as far as it will go. The front of the cabinet, gather part K and Q. Q has its dowels installed. Find the bag containing the 3 black screws and 4 pan heads. Attach part Q to K by screwing with the long black screws all the way into the piece. We will flip it over and take our handle with the 2 handle bolts and attach it through both pieces onto the front. Take your back and back brace, parts O and P, and install them onto the side panel G. When you slip the piece down, make sure that you tighten the cam all the way. With P, we have a dowel and a cam. Make sure when you are putting P on The taped edge is facing the top of the cabinet, which is where your cams are. Lastly, we will attach the front to the cabinet, that's Q and K. And again, we have a cam and a dowel. And we tighten it up. We're now working on steps 5 and 6, which involves taking the partition F and installing it onto the pieces that you just attached to the panel. Put it down, securely tighten all of your cams as you're building. The compartment back, M, will go next, cams facing inside. Again, tighten securely. Now we will put compartment bottom N in place. The cams can face down where they will not be seen. We are now able to add the outside panel, which is H. To this, lining all of our cams and connecting bolts together and going through and tightening all of them. As this step, we're going to flip the cabinet over very carefully, supporting it and putting it upside down. Just to run through the caster installation, the caster clip goes over the board. Then we take our caster insert with our hammer, tap it securely through. Take the caster itself. There are two styles, one with the tab, one without. The locking tabbed casters go in the front. With a small piece of wood or even your cutting board, tap the caster down in place and repeat for all of them. Now that the casters are in place, we'll turn the cabinet over so that it's ready to have the final installation of the pieces. Now we're going to install the hinges from the package with the leaf support hinges and screws onto leaf support hinges I and J. We will also install the round magnet into the corner and add the self-stick rubber tab. Just a couple notes when you're working on your leaf support hinges. The raised portion of the hinge and the recess will be facing you when you are attaching them. And when you are putting on your self-stick rubber tab, it will go on the opposite corner from the round magnet. You will have a white tab with the white cabinets and the black one with your oak cabinet. We're going to take the leaf support pieces that we added the hinges to earlier, and we're going to attach them to the sides of the cabinet using the remaining 8 screws. I am facing the back of the cabinet here, and my leaf support folds to the back. My magnet is going to attach to the round strike plate with the small screw that was found in the bag with those pieces. You will probably need to use a very small Phillips bit to tighten that one in. Step 10, we're going to install the airlift into the cabinet using the 4 carriage bolts, washers, and wing nuts. For this step, it is advisable to have an assistant to help you place the lift into the back of the cabinet. My lovely assistant is going to place the airlift on the inside of the cabinet. Now that we have inserted all of the carriage bolts through to hold the lift in place, take your hammer and tap each of them in to seat the carriage bolt. Then move around to the inside of the cabinet. Put a washer on each of the carriage bolts and tighten your wing nut as tightly as you can possibly get it. You may want to use a pliers or a wrench for this step for extra security. This next step of putting the top on the cabinet is much easier with two people because you are going to line your connecting bolts up with 5 cam holes, dropping it down. We have to tighten 5 cams throughout the piece. I'm taking a little break by assembling my 4 drawers at this point. This is the last drawer to assemble. We're going to install the clips into the back of the drawer. There are clips on the front. You want to make sure to add the sides, and the groove, which is where the bottom of the drawer will slip in, has to run continuously around. Our drawer bottom slides right down the track, and we clip on the front of the drawer, and lastly put the drawer knob on with its bolt. Set these aside until we finish the installation of the airlift and leveling. We've turned our cabinet upside down. Two of us carefully laid the cabinet on its back. We opened and supported the wings and flipped it upside down. Now I'm going to take my platform U, making sure that the 4 pre-drilled holes are facing up. The curved part is in the back, and I'm going to set that in the opening of the cabinet carefully. A piece of styrofoam from the packaging I'm going to take around to the back and just lift the cabinet and slide that in to give me a little bit of space while I do the next step. Now I'm going to attach the wings onto the airlift. I've taken all of my hex head bolts and separated them from the nuts and washers to make it easier. The wings are attached using the hex head bolt, nut and washer very loosely. We're making sure that the wing is on the inside of the airlift and the flange is facing outwards. Don't tighten any of these too much because we'll be doing that in a later step. I went around to the back and removed the piece of styrofoam from underneath the cabinet, cut some strips of cardboard from the box, and I'm tucking them around the sewing platform, making sure that the gaps at the corners, front and back and side to side, are as even as possible so nothing will get hung up. I have my 4 pan head screws, which will be installed in the pre-drilled holes, attaching the wings. Now my lovely assistant is standing on the shimmed out platform, and I'm going to tighten the bolts. Now our final step, we're going to install the drawers onto the drawer runners. At this point you can flip down your drawer stop so it holds it in place. Your bottom 3 drawers have the wider front plate, your top drawer is narrower.